take it away.
Awesome. So, good morning. I'm so glad that you all are here with me today. We're going to talk about our immune system and foods that can help to really restore and balance the immune system, and also some things that can, you know, I don't want to say negatively affect, but they can have interference with our immune system. So, I first want to ask, I just posted a question, a true or false question in the chat. And I would love to hear kind of your thoughts. So, true or false, the gut is dubbed the second brain. Give everybody a moment. Awesome. I think we're just looking for Sue. What's your opinion? Ah, there we go. Yeah, you're all correct. The gut has the same kind of neurotransmitters that are found in the brain. And these neurotransmitters, all these microflora are helping to keep the immune system functioning. It's helping to prevent the growth of the harmful bacteria that can cause us to get sick or have, digestive upset. And the big thing, we don't want to necessarily boost our immune system. First, we want to start by restoring those gut bacteria and then enhancing them and making sure that they are, working to their full potential. So, the gut bacteria can be a little bit confusing. There's, prebiotics, probiotics, different things that I'm sure that you've heard. And feel free to chime in or write in the chat, maybe some things that you've heard of that can help boost the immune system. And we can talk through those as well. But what our goal would be is to reduce things that are more harmful to our gut bacteria, and then add things that are going to help to stabilize those bacteria and help to keep them functioning really properly, and making sure that our gut is healthy. So the gut bacteria, they are called the probiotics. And I know that's a little bit confusing because it seems, at least in my brain, that probiotics are, something that we take. It is confusing to think that that's already what's in our gut. And the prebiotics are actually the food for the probiotics. So the prebiotics are fueling the probiotics to better keep our digestive system working properly. Yeah, Mira, turmeric definitely helps to boost and balance the immune system. It's really the curcumin in the turmeric that helps to do that. And it's so great with other things like reducing inflammation. It's primarily used in Indian cooking, or a lot of, Indian cooking and Thai or Asian cooking. And wherever you can, I would suggest that you add a little turmeric here and there.
I'm gonna say something. It's yes for inflammation, but my eldest had severe pneumonia every 6 months for about in a space of 2 years. So, and normally it takes that inflammation and that scarring about 6 months ago. So by the time it was going away, he was getting it again. Whenever I would make him just the root itself, I never used any form of powder. I
Mhm.
just grate it in some water with I put some ginger and cinnamon and cardamom pods and boiled it all together. And then I would give it to him with a little bit of honey. It helped so much instead of just giving him and I would still give him his medicine, but it cut the time that he was so sick in just general. And when they're feeling like, even when I feel laggy or, not so, like you're just slow, or even if you eat the wrong things and, it affects you, and just drink that, it actually takes away a lot of the um, laggy feeling, gives you a warm feeling. It boosts you. I don't know in whatever way, but it does. So it's something that I would recommend. No, you don't have to do it every day, but it helps a lot just overall, you
That's
know.
awesome. Will you write your little recipe in
Oh,
the
sure.
chat
You
for
want me to
us?
share it? Okay. I'll,
Yeah,
I'll,
that
I'll
would be
share it in the
great.
chat. Okay.
It sounds delicious. And ginger also has a lot of really great properties for inflammation and restoring the immune system as well. So that's one of the things that I like to do if I'm not feeling well is I just take a mug of hot water and I use essential oils, but you can use fresh ginger, you can use fresh lemon, but I just do a couple drops of lemon oil, a couple drops of ginger oil, and honey, and it's super super soothing. I feel like it really helps to kind of kick whatever's going on, and I'm
Right.
so glad that
I
there
mean, I
was so
use
much relief.
essential oils as well, but like I feel like when you boil it and get the root itself, there's
Absolutely.
something that just really helps a lot,
Yeah.
in
It,
feeling better.
if you have that fresh root, absolutely. And turmeric, it comes in a root very much like ginger. So you
Hmm.
can, just like you would ginger, you can cut off a piece, take the skin off, and just like throw it in and boil it. There are a lot of different teas that, um, for immune health, I know them a lot for postpartum health. But yeah, you just kind of throw the ginger, the turmeric, cinnamon, whatever else in that pot, which sounds very much like what you make, Mira. That's awesome. This is kind of a good segue to talk about foods that really help to stabilize and boost the immune system. So, mushrooms are another really great food. We talked about spices. Also, garlic is really great. And hot peppers. There's the spice capsaicin in the hot peppers, which you might see that as a supplement too, that capsaicin supplement. Those are really great. So if you like spicy foods, you can incorporate some of those hot peppers into your diet. Echinacea and zinc are great things to supplement if you were feeling like you were feeling run down, or just making kind of a mental note to eat foods that maybe have more zinc in them. Omega-3 fatty acids, we've talked a lot about those um, in the coaching packet, and just about how those are really beneficial fats that really help to fuel the body and provide just a lot of nutrition. And these are different than fats that you would get from like uh, either processed foods or like your different oils. So, like vegetable oil wouldn't have as many omega 3s, but these are from nuts, seeds, avocado, things like that. Iron and copper are also things that are really helpful. So, again, just being mindful of foods that have more iron, have more copper in them, amino acids, things like that. Some other foods are berries, any type of berries, but mostly, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, those type of berries. They have a lot of antioxidants. So, and we've talked about before, like what meals can you add berries to? What meals can you add greens to? Also, pomegranate. That's really, really awesome. Again, full of antioxidants. It's one of those superfoods. I know many years ago it was like one of those. Oh, what do you call them? Yeah, I think it is superfood. And you can buy like the pomegranate juice, but pomegranates, they're really different. If you've ever opened one and looked inside, you kind of cut it in half, and then what I've seen a lot on cooking channels is you take half of it and you have it like the cut side facing your bowl, and you just like whack it with a wooden spoon, and all of the pomegranate seeds are supposed to more easily fall out. um, and then fermented products, so um, kefir, sauerkraut, yogurt, those things are really great. And Greek yogurt, especially because it has a lot more probiotics in it, live strains of bacteria to just help support that immune function. Um, any questions or thoughts so far? Oh, I see. Oh, that's your recipe there, Mira. Awesome.
I have a question. What's the
Yeah.
best oil for cooking on high heat, or like in basically a lot of the Indian dishes that we cook at home? I used to a very long time ago use olive oil, and then I switched back to canola oil, which I know isn't the healthiest. Mind you, I don't cook with a lot of oil as a normal Indian home would. So I use relatively little, but I would like to find the healthiest one that also does not affect the taste of the food tremendously or drastically.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's a little bit of a personal preference as far as oils. Hi, Lindsay. I know Coach Connie really likes olive oil. I use a lot of, well, I don't use a lot, but if I'm going to use oil, I tend to use avocado oil. That has a little bit higher of a, oh, what do you call it? Like a totally blanking. Sorry. I think it has a higher smoke point. Yes, thank you. Um, but you know, if you're not using that much of oil, then you don't necessarily need to be too concerned as to which one is better, because they both provide really, really great benefits, like omega fatty acids for the body. So
Mhm.
I would say either olive oil or avocado oil. You can use canola oil if you don't use it that often.
Mhm.
You can also use, because canola oil, I believe, is a corn oil, unless you're getting a vegetable oil. Um, but it's really what you want to stay away from are the like Crisco, like the
The
lard
fat.
type stuff.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Coach Connie is saying that um, yeah, some oils are better for cooking than others. The um, smoke point, of course, is different a little bit with each of these oils. But yeah,
Mhm.
she kind of comments that avocado oil, almond oil, corn oil, canola oil, grapeseed oil, peanut oil, sunflower oil, sesame oil, sunflower. Oh, I think we said sunflower. Oh, safflower oil. These are all really great oils to use if you're sauteing or using at higher temperatures. Yeah. Um, some are more expensive than others. So it just kind of also depends on price point sometimes. I buy my avocado oil in these huge containers from Costco, and I just keep one of the smaller containers and refill it. But yeah, it's kind of personal preference. I think that any of these options are great. Sesame oil has a much stronger flavor to it. And I use it a little bit when I'm cooking, just kind of as like a finishing touch almost to add a little bit of flavor. So I personally wouldn't use sesame oil as my main oil just because it is so, um, it has that really heavy sesame taste and it can be overwhelming in larger quantities. Awesome. Any other questions so far? Great. So let's talk a little bit more about things that positively affect our immune system and things that can be more harmful. What are your thoughts on sugar? Do you think that that is beneficial or not so beneficial? Bran, I think you're muted if you are chatting with us.
Oh, I'm just talking for myself.
Okay, no
I just
problem.
said I just said I don't think it's super beneficial.
Yeah, it's not. It actually depresses our immune function. And not only does it depress it as we're eating the sugar, but it actually depresses it for about 4 to 6 hours after we eat that sugar. So we want to, be mindful of the sugars that we're eating. Natural sugars aren't going to affect the immune system as much as refined sugars or, the cake, the cookies, the sweets. Um, that doesn't mean you shouldn't eat them when you want them. Uh, I love sweets and I will always eat sweets, but it's just, being mindful and maybe choosing other options that are better quality sugars for your body. What about refined carbohydrates? So white bread, white pasta, white tortilla wraps, white rice, any of those things. What are your thoughts? Good or not so good? I see Sue's shaking your head. Yeah, they're not so good. Sue, you're right. They are very much treated as sugar. They are sugar when they're broken down. So again, it depresses the immune system um, for that time plus several hours afterwards. And processed foods, good, bad? What are your thoughts? They are not so good. So they are actually encouraging that bad bacteria to grow in our guts and, kind of destroying those good probiotics that we have. So the processed foods are preventing our probiotic bacteria from fighting off those germs like cold germs or flu germs. And, a lot of times people that don't have the best diet tend to get sick more often because these foods are prohibiting those good probiotic bacteria from thriving. So let's talk about a few other things aside from food that can be an impact on our immune system. Does anyone have any thoughts as to what else kind of in our daily lives can impact that? How about I throw some out? Stress, exposure to sun or other forms of radiation, smoking, alcohol use, suppressing our emotions, and toxins, whether that's from our food, our household cleaners, our personal care products. All of these things can really affect our immune system. And when I say exposure to the sun, of course, the sun is really beneficial for our bodies. Our bodies need that natural vitamin D that is, received from the sun. But radiation, excessive sun exposure, sunburns, things like that, that can really wreak havoc on our immune system. So being aware is really important. If you're feeling really stressed, trying to utilize some of your methods to manage your stress level. When it comes to suppressing emotions, as I'm sure a lot of us can recall moments where we just feel all of that really heavily. And if we don't let that go, if we don't have a good cry, then it can make us feel really sick if it's kind of hanging on for a prolonged amount of time. So this is one thing I say with my birth and postpartum clients when I'm working them with them as a doula. Feel all the feels. And I really encourage you to do that in your everyday life too. If you feel like you need a good cry, turn on a movie that is going to make you cry, or just, go take a really nice long bath if you can, get away from your kids for a little while, and just really soak there, let your muscles relax. And ideally, when you come out of that bath, you're a little bit of a fresher person. And I think it's really important to remember to take care of yourself, have some self-care, at least try to every day or every couple of days, whether that is taking your bath, taking a walk by yourself, exercising alone, or, incorporating your kids into it, but fueling your body in a really great way that often helps us feel less stress. And those endorphins really help with that as well. That brings me to exercise. So activity patterns and exercise, except for excessive exercise, which would be, multiple hours per day, that can be harmful to the immune system. But regular exercise can be really, really beneficial. It can boost your level of immune cells by nearly 50% in just like a matter of minutes of exercising. Exercise can also help prevent age-related immune disease and decline. So keep up with your workouts when you can, go for your walks, enjoy, the warmer days, the sunnier days, and get outside when you can. And then what do you all think of sleep? Do you think that sleep is really helpful to our immune systems? Brianne's shaking her head. Yeah, everybody's shaking their heads. Yeah. So lack of sleep actually slows the production of these disease fighting white blood cells, and it impairs their ability to do their job. Um, so it's really important as much as we can. And I'm sure that we all really vary in our sleep cycles and you know the days that we don't get good sleep, and um, you might feel a little bit more sluggish or need that extra cup of coffee, whatever it is. And that's totally normal. But as much as you can, try to remember that it's the restful sleep that allows your body to release those immune enhancing compounds and really helps to keep our gut bacteria flourishing. Okay. Um, let's take it over to some questions or anything that's on your minds that you want to chat about. Feel free to write in the chat or unmute yourself and just chime on in. No questions right now? That's fine. How is everyone? Yeah, go ahead.
Can you just talk about a little bit about like low fat versus full fat and the benefits of doing full fat over low fat, like yogurts and things like that, as opposed to, you know,
Yeah.
to doing like the sugar-free and low fat. I just think that that's something that every time it's brought up, it's a good reminder.
Yeah, it can be a little bit confusing. I think it also depends on what your personal needs are for your nutrition and in relation to exercise. So, you know, full fat, it's going to be more calories. It's going to be fattier. You know, if you are trying to increase your fat intake for different reasons, then I would definitely recommend full fat. Um, if you are, you know, giving to your kids, a lot of pediatricians suggest those full fat milk, yogurt, any type of dairy products to kind of, you know, help them to fuel their bodies to grow and through all the development that they're doing. Sometimes, or I should say most of the time, those low fat products, so like the yogurt, the cheeses, things like that, they have more sugars in them. So we want to be mindful because they're not always the best type of sugar. And, you know, looking for products that have more natural type of sugars, or choosing a yogurt that you then add a natural sugar to, whether that's stevia, whether that's honey or maple syrup. You know, gravitating towards those Greek yogurts, maybe the plain Greek yogurt, and adding a drizzle of honey, that can be a great kind of meal for you, or breakfast addition or snack. um, yeah, the full fat versus low fat, I tend personally to gravitate toward the full fat. I know a lot of people who prefer the low fat. It's also, it can be a different consistency. With milk, there's a different consistency. With the yogurt, there is as well. So it also comes down to just personal preference. Yeah. How are you all doing with your meal planning and your recipes and sticking to kind of your goals for your foods? Anybody stuck? Anybody having, yeah, Lindsay?
I feel like the meal planning just takes a insane amount of time. And I'm very frustrated sometimes with how that process goes. Do you have any tips?
It can be tricky, and maybe if Coach Connie isn't eating her waffles, she can chime in because she's kind of given you all the guide on how to meal plan. Yeah, be confident in reading your nutrition labels, and if you aren't quite sure how to do that, let us know, and I can happily, you know, hop on a call with you and we can talk more about that. And you know, thinking about maybe meals that you can make that are going to be, or doubling your batches so that you can use that on multiple nights to make it a little easier, especially during the work week. That can be really helpful. Um, I tend to repeat a lot of recipes in my house or make a big batch of soup that I know is going to last for like 3 or 4 nights. Meal planning, it, like Connie's saying, it's a skill. It takes time to develop. It gets easier typically over time. Yeah, Brianne, do you want to chat a little bit about your experience and how meal planning feels for you?
Yeah, sure. So I totally get you, Lindsay. Like, especially starting out doing it, it can be super overwhelming and super like disappointing of like, you're spending your whole Saturday or whatever, planning things out. But I've found, I found that like like Erica said, as you go on through the weeks, you start to kind of figure out what meals last longer, what you can then take that meal and switch it to something else, like kind of tweak it a little bit, add a little something extra to make it a little different so that, because I know some families are not leftover families. They hate leftovers. So, but I've started to like compile a list of the meals and the way they work, and you end up just like last night, yesterday I ended up doing it a day early, just because the previous week I was not on my game and our refrigerator was empty. So, but you just kind of start to figure out what works best, at least for us, and able to just be like, okay, so Avery likes this, Molly likes this, Chris likes this. Let's see how it lines up. Like we use our Instant Pot a lot. But also, and this is something I was talking to Connie about last night, if you use something like Fresh Direct or Costco or something like that, there are meals that are already like pre-prepped. If that's something like, obviously it costs a little bit more, but if that's worth your time because you're so busy or so exhausted at the end of the day, I'll do things like like a rotisserie chicken you can get and use that, for a meal, for a couple of meals for different things. I get at Fresh Direct, I get the lemon something or other salmon, and that's really good. And then you just literally take off the lid and put it in the oven. And then I get like, I can either make my rice in my Instant Pot, and then I have like rice for the week if I want to use it for different meals. Like, this week we're going to have red lentil curry, chicken stir fry, salmon and rice. Like, so we're going to be able to use that rice throughout the week, the brown rice throughout the week, or quinoa or anything like that. Like, so if you can figure out those things that can be used more often, things that are easy, and then you just each week just start like popping them in there, and you end up having a pantry that's got the seasonings you need already for the recipes that you're already familiar with. That was like the biggest aha moment for me when I first started doing it years ago when we first got married, and I was in a program then working with a nutritionist then. It was like the first couple times was like, holy cow, I'm spending so much money on all these new seasonings that I never use. And then it was like, oh, wait a minute, I don't need to go to the store because I have everything in my pantry for this new recipe because I used it for another recipe. So it just kind of starts, pardon the girls screaming in the background, it just kind of starts, compiling and getting a lot easier. I guarantee it starts to get a lot easier and not so daunting.
I definitely agree about things that you can use for multiple meals, like the rotisserie chicken, or if you buy a whole chicken. Lindsay, I don't know if you have a slow cooker or an Instant Pot, or you can also just put it in your oven, but like you can throw the whole chicken in the Instant Pot with water and like some, random vegetables, onion and all that. You can make a stock but you can also just cook your chicken, and then you have, literally it's falling off the bone pulled chicken that you can throw in soup. You can use as like chicken tacos. You could add, some sauce to it and kind of make it like a barbecue, or just have, pulled chicken with vegetables and maybe some rice. And yeah, with the rice, like think about, okay, I'm going to use rice in this, burrito bowl. I'm going to use rice with my salmon. So I'm just going to make one big batch of rice and it'll be in the fridge for the week. So it does kind of, you have to think about it in different ways and really look at your recipes and be like, okay, I need these 3 things, and make sure I make enough of those. So it is kind of that meal prep, but thinking about like that chicken or that salmon that you could use for multiple meals in different ways. So it's not seeming like the same thing over and over. Is that helpful, Lindsay, to kind of help break that down for you? Yeah, Connie's remembering or kind of reminding us not to overcomplicate things, overcomplicate the menu. Start by asking yourself, what would this look like if it were easy? And I know, Lindsay, you've sent me some of your meal plans to take a look at. And you can kind of start backwards by starting with dinner and thinking about, okay, this chicken is going to be enough for us for 2 nights. I'm going to do, just pulled chicken one night. I'm going to add this to a soup for another night. And this soup is going to actually probably be like 2 meals. Yeah, it's like Brianne was saying, it can be overwhelming, but over some time, it does get easier and you just kind of learn to look at it a little bit differently. We can always talk more. And if you want to, like next time you send me your meal plan, I can look at it a little bit and kind of break it down and say, oh, well, you have chicken in this meal and chicken in this meal. So why don't you try to combine that when you cook it instead of cooking it separately? And sometimes it's tweaking the recipes a little bit to just make it easier for you. Yeah. How's everybody else feeling? Victoria, how are you all settling in? We'll come back to her. Yeah, what else is going on, everybody? Sue, you were talking about some recipes that you really like to make in the Instant Pot, and you were telling us about the sesame chicken. Tell us a little bit more about that. Is it really easy to make? Does it yield enough for multiple nights?
It does. Yeah, I usually can get 2 nights out of it. It's so simple to make. In the Instapot, it takes like 10 minutes to cook and it's done. Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you serve it with some rice or
I do.
Just... Awesome.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, what else, if any questions do you have? Or we can talk about maybe some new recipes to try. Has anyone made any really great recipes in the last week or so?
Hey guys, I'm back.
Welcome. How are your waffles?
They're so good. My husband put rainbow sprinkles in them for my daughter because that's all she wants to eat right now. So we're kind of just like throwing sprinkles on whatever it is that we want her to eat. How's that for parenting?
Whatever works, right?
That's what I'm going with. So I hear a lot of the meal planning being a struggle. And what this ends up being is another one of those limiting beliefs and like mental barriers that people experience because this is something that we haven't thought in this way before, ever. Like this isn't a way that our brain processes meals. This isn't something like we went to school and there was always a lunch option. We went to college and we ate the food that was there or, whatever. When we were kids, we ate whatever our parents gave us. So the idea of having to create an entire week's worth of meals at a time can be it can be different because it's new. And remember, we like to encourage each other to be kind to ourselves when we're learning something new, especially as adults when we've been in our set ways for so long. But it's just like trying to do a Turkish get up or finding a new piece of gym equipment or training for a race that you've never done before. You have to move past the point where you've never been before. And it's often that point that will cause an avalanche of success moving forward, because that's the version of you that you've never kind of known in the past. So if you're feeling resistance to something like putting an entire meal on paper, treat that as an opportunity. And you can either treat it as an opportunity to get better, to improve, to practice, to get to gain a new skill, if it's something that will help you. And if you're really the kind of person where you're like, Connie, I don't like putting pen to paper, this is not something that's working for me at all, then we'll decide a different option. There's a different path. But ultimately, the idea is to make your food as little of a thought as possible, right? We are spending so much brain power thinking about food from sun up to sundown. And the goal here is to become better moms, better employees, better partners, better friends. And we do that by freeing up physical and mental space to focus on the things that really matter for us. So if being proactive in your nutrition means putting it on paper, planning it out. That way it's literally you stare at the fridge or wherever it's at and you're like, okay, I know that's what's for dinner. I don't have to think about it. Or I have to pull out this chicken on this day. That frees up brain space. Or if all you have to do, if you feel like confident enough in the meals that you eat that, okay, I know I just need to order like 3 HelloFresh meals. That way I don't have to think about those. And then I'll throw together my 4 basic recipes that I always eat. Like whatever easy means for you is what we want to focus on and just get better at. Because like I said before, you guys have so much other cool stuff to do in your days than obsess over the meals. So, stepping back for a second from like really staring in and really thinking hard on this concept of meal planning and thinking of what does this look like if it were easy? And that's a great litmus test for anything that you're coming up with resistance to. Does that make sense? Yeah, kind of. Okay. All right. That's all.
Awesome. Thank you.
Erica, what are your thoughts on that? I absolutely love your donut picture, by the way. That's like my favorite background.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a new way of thinking about eating. And if it is causing a lot of stress and anxiety, it's okay if it doesn't work for you. And like Connie said, we can make modifications. I also think that, Brienne, you had a really great idea about those pre-made foods. There's a difference between those prepackaged frozen meals and the, pre-made roasted chicken or the salmon that's marinated or the chicken that's marinated that helps to make your, dinner routine or, whatever meal it is a little bit easier. And it's okay to use those things. Yes, they tend to be a little bit more expensive because more of it is done for you. But if that's what makes your dinner time during the week with crazy work life and home life balance easier, that's totally okay to use. I know in the mamas that I've talked to, and we've had our nutrition calls, one of the questions that I've asked you in your prenatal questionnaire is, do you use those prepared foods, those convenience foods? But there's a whole realm of what those are. It can be your pre-chopped vegetables. It can be your veggies in a steamer bag, things that can make it a lot easier. You can also steam vegetables in your Instant Pot. Sometimes it's those like set it and forget it for a few minutes things that are really, really helpful when you're trying to wrap up your workday and, switch your kids, from virtual learning or crazy playtime or whatever it might be to dinner time and starting to kind of wind down a little bit before bedtime. So we can also talk more about that, Lindsay. That might be helpful for you to think about, and we can chat more in detail, whether that's you and I or you and Connie. But yeah, it's our brains are not really wired, as Coach Connie was saying, to do this. Most of us have never thought about food and planning in this way. So it's just a redirection, which can take some time.
And yeah, to expand even a little bit more on the role that convenience food plays in our lives. I mean, you guys all are opting into coaching, so you're starting to understand the value of investing in your own health. And a lot of times when it comes to not ordering in, not going to restaurants, but going to the grocery store, we try to find the best deal or the most affordable option. But what a better utilization of the money that you earn for yourself than investing it in making your life easier. And in this case, it could be spending a couple more cents on individually bagged carrots instead of like the giant bulk bag that you would have to peel and chop and baggy up. It's deciding how much time am I willing to spend on the preparation phase versus how much do I want to utilize money as a tool to help make my life a little bit easier. And like we just keep reinforcing, this is a trial and error period, and there is no failing, there is no pass fail. It's all about how much of a lesson we can learn from what didn't work the week before, and then just moving forward. And keep in mind that you all have monthly check-in calls available with Coach Erica, and we'll make sure that we have set up the system for you guys to easily book that, so you can continue making progress on this. And you always have access to me and can ask questions in the group, because like you see, you have me, meal prep extraordinaire, Brienne, my meal planning Padawan apprentice, and all of you have this different level of experience with this particular element. So ask questions to people who are a little bit farther ahead in you. And one of the things I find a lot of value in with the group element is that idea that if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. So you have the opportunity here of being in that virtual room with people who are maybe a little, have taken a couple steps farther ahead than you. We have Sue here who has 3 grown baby boys, and then we have like me with the 2-year-old and everything in between, plus Erica, the doula. Like we have, moms who have experience in all of these different levels of parenthood, to draw knowledge from and advice and support from. So taking advantage and being comfortable asking these questions is a way that you can really extract the most value out of this coaching group as a whole.
Yeah. Awesome. I'd love to hear a little something good from the last few days, last week from everybody. Anyone want to start? Or if you don't have something good, maybe what is something good that you're hoping for in this next week? But hopefully everyone can find a little piece of bright light.
I just
Brienne?
snagged a vaccine appointment.
Yay!
Like,
my hat
right
here.
now.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Is it over at your college?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
they
been
opened it
trying.
up for all the zip codes today.
Yeah, and I've been
Yeah.
trying, and I've been watching the numbers go like this. Like
Mhm.
there were like a lot of appointments, and as I was trying to do it, it was like no longer available, no longer available, no longer available.
Also that I had posted in the Story of Moms group, my friend runs Epicenter NY's New York City. They're based in Jackson Heights, but what they've been doing, they've been assisting anyone that needs an appointment that they can't do it on their own, especially like, we have a lot of elderly
Yeah.
people that needs, and sometimes it takes a while to get a vaccine, an appointment, and sometimes you grab it like right away. So, pass that around. They're really, really helpful. They were able to get my dad an appointment back in February at the beginning of the month, in like half an hour.
Nice.
So they have a team just dedicated to helping people get vaccine appointments.
That's great.
Yeah, it's just a
Can you guys put those links in the chat?
sure.
I got
I'll
my
put
first
it in.
vaccine on last Saturday.
Yay.
Yeah, I just looked up TurboVax, and
Yeah.
that brings like all of the sites together.
I'm gonna share what I have as well.
I think, Connie, I think you have a call at 11, right? So we just need to be mindful of our time. But I'd love to just hear from everyone else for a moment. Maybe Sue, is your highlight your vaccine on Saturday? Yeah, that's
Yep.
awesome. Are you feeling well?
I am. Just had a slight headache on that day, but other than that, fine.
Awesome. So excited for you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Lindsay, what is your something good?
I'm gonna try to get a vaccine.
Okay, let's keep it going. Awesome. And then Mira, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling today better than been feeling the last couple of weeks. I started doing 10 minutes of yoga yesterday, so I did it yesterday. I did it first thing this morning,
Nice.
just to get it. I did even before I got up and showered. Just did 10 minutes, and I felt better, and I feel like it does make an impact. And how I felt this morning. And then after I did that, I got up, I showered, had a cup of tea, and I was like, all right, my next to make sure that I attend the call. And it was worth it to really just write everything down, just open a page in a book and just write like what you're going to do, start your day. And I did encourage my husband to start doing 10 minutes with me. So I felt good about that, actually get him moving. So yeah, that was an accomplishment yesterday and today. I'm just gonna put it out there that no one enjoyed that chickpea pasta that I tried.
Oh, really? Oh, we really like it in
It
my
was like-
house.
And I got the Barilla brand because I couldn't find the other brand.
Banza.
So now we're gonna try red lentil.
Okay.
See how
it's-
that works. But
it's some
yeah.
trial and error to see what everybody likes. It's okay if you don't like any of them. I'm very proud of you all for trying and seeing maybe what you do like. Yeah. Coach Connie, what's your something good besides your wallpaper behind you?
Oh,
Or is that your
guys,
something good?
that was my videos of putting that up was sped up 30x. It didn't take as long as I thought, but I'm in love. There's everything in my house is white. I mean, it's an apartment, so everything's white. So I was just like, I went crazy with color, and I am super happy. I'm excited because I have some new moms coming in to the program. So they're starting their 12-week journey tomorrow. So make sure you give them a nice welcome. And I'd encourage you all to reboot your, engagement into the group as well. Those Monday accountability posts and the Thursday traffic light posts, they're really important. It's not just, filler for the group. It's important for me, first of all, to see where you're at, scale of 1 to 10, how your week went. It's a quick check-in. That way I can quickly see if I need to intervene and get you back on track if something's going on. And I also want to celebrate your progress and your wins as you're experiencing them. So since we have the new group coming in, some fresh eyes, some fresh mamas ready to, really kick off their health and fitness goals, let's really engage and let March be a great kickoff point for the springtime, getting through this cold, damp, dark sadness that was this winter, and just allowing those little habits that you started to pick up on to really push you forward and keep you on your journeys. You have the group to ask questions. You always have me to message to ask questions. Same with Coach Erica. Take advantage of the traffic light, the red light coaching calls if you need them. But if at any point you feel like you want to talk, we're here. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
So that was awesome. Thank you so much, Erica, for leading that nutrition group. I'm going to post the recording and the replay. I will see you all in the group. reach out to us with questions. Stay strong, stay hydrated, and have a great weekend, mamas.
Yeah, and I just want to leave you with one quote as we end. When you feel like quitting, remember why you started. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye everyone. Happy weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.